Hello from AI Sciences and welcome to Data Snooping Explained for Beginners. I'm your instructor Kashif Murtaza, and in this video we are going to talk about the very common traps for data snooping. One is through data visualization, another is through data pre-processing, and one other trap that is very rare to actually catch is by looking at others people work on the same data set. So let's dive in and start first by looking at what is data snooping, and then we will discuss one by one these kind of traps that are there for data snooping. So data snooping basically refers to the fact that if a data set has affected any step in the learning process, its ability to access the outcome has been compromised. Let me explain the statement, and here we literally are talking about here this data set normally refers to the test data. So consider, for example, you have a prediction engine. That is your prediction engine that you want to build. So that's your machine learning model or prediction engine or whatever that is supposed to give predictions on the inputs. So we are giving inputs and it has to do some predictions. It has to produce some predictions, y hat. And we want to build this prediction engine. That's the goal. And we are building this prediction engine. We are choosing different models. We are choosing different parameters. We are training for different hyperparameters and stuff like so. And then what happened is if at any stage we use the data, which is sometimes referred to as test data, to train our prediction model to help adjust some of the parameters of our prediction engine or the model, then after actually training all the model, if we then go and check the performance of our model on the same test data, which actually helped in the training process as well, then whatever inference or estimate of the performance we get, they are not real. These estimates are not real, which means the data that actually was used to give the inferential estimates, the estimates that we have to report to our client, for example, that our model is performing this much better. These estimates can be improved if we supply test data if we plug in the test data or get some information from the test data in the learning process. But these improved estimates, they can be very risky because the actual data, the deployment, the data that will be there after deployment, these estimates may not be consistent with that. So in a nutshell, the data upon which we want to measure the performance of our machine learning model, that data should not help in any way the training process. It should be completely untouched data. And if we actually use the test data that is supposed to give the performance measure in the training process, then this is known as data snooping. So here, if we say if a data set, it's referred to test data, has affected any step in the learning process, then its ability to access the outcome or the inferential estimates has been compromised. They are not real. There are several traps. There are several ways by which we can normally get into the data snooping. For example, one trap is data visualization. If, for example, the data has not very high dimensions, the data has lower dimensions, and we can simply visualize the patterns in the data, then what happens is the selection of the learning model is running in our head, the visualizers. We are actually rejecting some of the models or hypotheses and selecting some of the models or hypotheses based on our visualizations, which is sometimes known as the validation process. We are not running the validation on our code, but the validation is actually happening in our mind, and we are selecting some of the hypotheses, we are weighting some of the hypothesis more, and leaving the rest of the hypothesis. And we might have assumed on our own that we have not run a single line of code yet, so we are not overfitting. Then our head or our mind select one of the model, and there we go. That model might be very, very simple, and we assume that we have selected a very simple model, and we are going to try that model now for validation. But in a sense, we have run through a lot of validations in our head, thereby overtraining on the data set that is available to us by visualization. And if our final hypothesis that we have decided, we go and test that hypothesis and report the performance, that may be erroneous because it may not generalize to unseen data. Maybe a better approach is to split the data into a test and training set, and maybe then we are able to go and visualize the training data and come up with a final hypothesis, maybe through some coding or visualization or whatever validation step. And then at the very end, we go and we apply that hypothesis on our test data and get the performance measure. Then it may be legal, but using the whole data for visualization and thinking that we are not writing a single line of code right now, so no model selection, no overfitting kind of things are happening. Actually, it is happening through our head. Our head is right now a learning algorithm or a validation process that is going on. So as many hypotheses as it is rejecting and is going through is actually that is proportional to the amount of overfitting that eventually will be caused or may be caused. So that is one source, data visualization, which is very common and very unintentionally or sometimes unknowingly, we do not know that we are actually trapped into data snooping. We are looking at that data that was actually, so we look at the same data and we come up with a model, and then we measure the performance of the model on the same data. That's a bad thing. That's data snooping. Another very common pitfall is the combined data pre-processing. What happened normally is, so think about supervised learning regime, and you have this test data, let's say X and Y. This is the data set you have, and the corresponding Y data set. And this is the corresponding Y labels, let's say. And what we do is, let's say we want to scale the data. Let's say it should be zero mean and unit variance and stuff like that. Let's say we normally the targets are, in most of the cases, are not pre-processed normally, although in some cases the targets are also scaled. But let's say we scale the data, whole data X as X hat, which is some normalized version, or maybe all the features they have now zero mean and unit variance, or maybe they are whitened through PCA or whitening transform or something like that. Some pre-processing, some scaling, something has happened, some normalization has happened, which is really beautiful thing. In most of the cases, it actually helps a lot of quick convergences of several algorithms. And in almost all the cases, it is not harmful, although in certain cases, it is definitely beneficial. Y stays as it is in most of the cases, although in certain cases, the value of Y or targets, they also need to be normalized. But let's say the Y stays the same. Now what we do, we pick this particular data, and we split the data into a test set and a training set. And now we do whatever we do on our training data. We select our model, we select hyperparameters, and we build a final hypothesis. Let's say HF, final hypothesis. And finally, we evaluate the final hypothesis on our test data and report the inference. And that is what we think that at deployment time, what our algorithm will be performing. Here, one big problem that we went through is that if we could have splitted the data before the normalization, let's say we split the train and test set before the normalization, then before whatever normalization pre-processing we went through. And then we actually use the training part of the data set, this part, to do the normalization and save the normalization or pre-processing parameters and apply those parameters for the test set, and do not extract the parameters from the test set, then it is legal. If we have used the combined normalization, then actually test data, which should be untouched, we should have been untouched, give some of the information in terms of normalization, in terms of for example, if you are applying PCA or something like that, it may give some eigenvectors in some directions and stuff like so. It has given some information that actually affected the training data or the parameters of the training data. It actually has helped the training process, because this data pre-processing is also in the data training pipeline. And that is so, that is sometimes so common that people don't actually notice on that, and it can have huge impacts in certain kind of applications, in particular the applications in financial forecasting and stuff like so. So a better way is to not pre-process first, but split the data first and do whatever you have to do on training set, and then reflect that training set like the test set is the set on the deployment time. So that is another kind of trap that can be there for data snooping when we do pre-processing the whole data in a combined fashion. A third very common and very subtle kind of trap is using others' work. Think about a particular data set, for example, this data. And let's say somebody have posted this data, and what they did is they have split the data as test data and training data, let's say. And they have made their data public. So let's say this is X train, and this is, let's say, X test. That is made public. Obviously, if it is supervised learning data, then there is a Y train and Y test as well. Otherwise, let's say this is the data set available. Now they have made the splits X train and X test, these splits available. And they gave some of the learning algorithms that are trained on X trained, and then they are evaluated on X test, and they have certain errors. For example, 0.09 is the error for some algorithm on this benchmark. Consider this data set as benchmark. Some other group, research group, appeared and gave error of 0.07 by choosing different kind of models and stuff like so on this training data, and then test on this test set. The test set is fixed. Then there are so many research groups they came up with and improved the model, improved their models to 0.05. Now you came up just and you said, okay, I'm going to improve that from 0.05 to down, let's say, to 0.03 or 4 or something like that. And what you did is you actually picked this test data and try to not touch this test data, just save it somewhere that I'm not going to touch, just to avoid the snooping. But what you did is you read all other people's work, what model they have chosen on this test data, what their performance was, what was the next improved model on this particular test data, what is their performance. After reading all this work, you have actually explored a bigger hypothesis space based on this test data. And this test data is actually helping you narrowing down some of the parameters that you may tune and get better performance. So this test data is actually helping the training process that is going through in your mind by reading others' work. And that is one part of data snooping that is really subtle. And you may now come up with tuning just 1 or 2 parameters, alpha and beta, and you get performance much better than the already available performance, and you think that this is the best thing. And then you go and deploy the model, and you may get horrible results. That is due to data snooping that you may unknowingly have done. So data snooping is a bad thing. One common practice that you should do is always do is the following. Always split your data, normally in 3 categories. One is training, one for validation, and one for test. And never ever touch the test split. Never ever touch the test split before finalizing your model. Do finalize your model by switching between training and validation, by shuffling this data, and do whatever you want. But once you have set your final hypothesis, at the very end, come up with your test data, deploy your test data, check the performance, and that's it. Do not retrain then. And this test data is also, it is good to select the test data randomly from the original training set available. So this should be a very rigid kind of practice in machine learning. Otherwise, these traps that are there in data snooping, one way or the other, one may caught into these kind of traps. So I hope you have liked our video. Please press the like button, subscribe our channel, and share this video with your friends. Hope to see you next time.